In this lesson, you'll learn how to use pan and zoom to add greater visual impact to a story that you're telling. To a story that you've written or a report that you've created by using something called a pan and zoom effect. Sometimes this is known as the Ken Burns effect, after the famous cinematographer who created the illusion of movement from static images for a PBS special on the Civil War. So we're going to be using a new function within Adobe Roam we haven't looked at before. It's found in the Insert menu under the Media Objects, and it's called a clipping frame. So I've got the beginnings of my report here all set and ready to go, and now I want to have the reader be provided with something to look at while they're reading my report. So I'm going to insert a clipping frame, and I'll size it the size that I want to be based on my composition. So let me go ahead and just drag it from the corners. You see the little symbol there in the middle, little notification about double clicking and then inserting the media object that you want to use to do your pan and zoom. And that's what we'll do next. So with sized and where I want it to be, I'm going to do two things. Number one, I'm going to double click inside the clipping frame, which is going to give me the appearance of a little toolbar at the bottom here with a slider for magnification and another little button that lets me change the rotation of the object. So that's number one, double click, and just like it says on the screen. Number two, I want to make sure that I say view timeline so that I can see what I'm going to be animating over time. So let's go ahead and we're going to insert, in this case I'm going to insert a file using one that I found in my research, and of course citing it properly and giving credit to the owner of the source file. So this is the file that I've decided to choose to illustrate this little story I'm creating, and I want to go ahead and focus in on the character who's being sold here, the slave. So I'm going to zoom in on him first and put the slave auctioneer off to the side here. Okay, that's where I want the focus of my presentation to be initially. So my time is set at 0, and this is my initial image. I'm going to turn on the timer by clicking that button in the far left, and then I'll decide how I want this transition to take place. So over the course of 15 seconds or so, I want this magnification to zoom out, and I want the item to slide to the left. I'll bring my auctioneer into focus here, and I can just move on down the timeline, but I decide I want to just make that a little bit smaller, give it a little greater impact, show more of the image as we get down here. Now you also see again the indicator that allows you to turn things around, flip them around. Won't be using that for this, but we do what we're after here, which is again to put the focus on the subject of the story, which is the slave here that's being auctioned, and then have a little bit of movement that goes along with this story to give it some more visual impact. All right, let's take a look at a preview here to see how our final result comes out. And as you see, the image will slide through that viewport, that object that we inserted onto the canvas, and then it will move into position, zoom in, zoom out, and take the aspect that we assign to it. So it's a great little thing to do if you want to add some more visual interest, make things more fascinating when you're creating those reports. This is a great tool to do that, and you can do this and of course much more with Adobe Roam.